Don't talk. The command sliced through the night like a knife. Daniel froze, hidden in the shadows, watching the city's most powerful man cornered against a wall. A black car idled nearby, its tinted windows hiding the faces that controlled everything. Papers changed hands, fear gripped the air, and Daniel realized he had seen too much. This wasn't just about a CEO in danger. It was about betrayal, silence, and the single father who refused to stay invisible. This is Don't Talk, the untold story of a single dad who saved the CEO. Welcome, story lovers. Where are you watching from? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was the kind of life most people didn't even notice. Daniel, a single father in his late 30s, blended into the city's background like another shadow on the crowded streets. He worked long shifts as a night security guard, the kind of job where people only remembered your face if something went wrong. By day, he hurried through small tasks, such as paying bills, packing his daughter's lunch, and ensuring her shoes didn't wear out too quickly. His world was quiet, predictable, and invisible, just the way others seemed to prefer it. He was overlooked at the grocery store, cut in line at the bank, spoken to with clipped words when others thought no one important was listening. Being a single dad meant living with a double weight, the responsibility of caring for a child and the constant reminder from society that he was somehow less than the picture-perfect families around him. Daniel had grown used to it. He didn't complain. He kept his head down. But keeping your head down doesn't stop you from seeing things. And Daniel noticed everything. The way coworkers whispered when certain executives walked by, the strange meetings that happened after hours in the office lobby, the subtle glances that passed between men who thought no one was watching. He never spoke of it, why would he? In his position, speaking up only made you a target. Still, there was a quiet strength inside him, born from years of being dismissed, ignored, and underestimated. A strength that sharpened his eyes and steadied his steps. He told himself it was just a matter of survival, but deep down, he knew it was something more. Because one ordinary night while walking home after another shift, Daniel's ability to see what others ignored would change everything. A flickering streetlight, a black car idling too long, and the faint echo of a voice carried across the alley. These details pulled him into a secret he was never meant to uncover. And for once, being invisible wouldn't protect him. Daniel had always lived with the uneasy truth that some lives were measured as more valuable than others. It showed in the way people crossed the street when they saw him late at night, in the way security stopped him at buildings he was hired to protect, in the silence when promotions were handed out to men with lighter skin and easier smiles. He carried these moments like stones in his pocket, never heavy enough to stop him from moving, but always there, weighing him down. That night, his shift ended later than usual. The lobby of the high-rise was quiet, the polished floors gleaming under artificial light. Executives had long gone home, their cars waiting in private garages, their names spoken with respect. Daniel swiped out, his badge beeping faintly, and stepped into the cold air. He pulled his jacket tight, eager to reach the small apartment where his daughter was already asleep. But something felt off. At first it was just a sound, soft, hurried footsteps echoing from the alley across the street. Then came a sharp word, muffled like someone being silenced. Daniel paused. He told himself to keep walking. Trouble wasn't his business. Trouble had never been kind to men like him. But his eyes lifted to the shadows between the buildings, and that's when he saw it. A sleek black car idled at the curb, headlights dimmed. Two figures stood near the alley wall. One of them, Daniel recognized instantly, the CEO of the company he guarded. A man whose face was printed on glossy magazines, whose speeches about progress and equality were quoted in newspapers. But here he was, pressed against cold bricks, his voice trembling as another man leaned in close. The words were faint but unmistakable. "Don't talk." Daniel's breath caught. He had no business hearing that, yet his instincts sharpened, the way they always did when danger crept close. He ducked slightly, pretending to adjust his bag, but his eyes never left the scene. The man confronting the CEO wasn't a stranger. Daniel had seen him before. In the building's lobby, in whispered meetings, his presence too casual for someone without a badge. The exchange grew tense. Papers changed hands. A phone screen lit up briefly, its glow revealing fear etched across the CEO's face. Blackmail, that much was clear. And Daniel knew too well how power could be twisted in the dark, how secrets could destroy lives. Still, what choice did he have? Walk away and pretend he saw nothing? That was the safest path. It was what the world expected from someone like him. Stay quiet, stay small, stay out of sight. But his feet didn't move. He thought of his daughter, of the lessons he wanted her to learn. That courage meant more than survival. That silence in the face of injustice only fed the fire. The black car door slammed. The shadowy man disappeared inside, leaving the CEO frozen, shaken. Daniel stood across the street, invisible as always. And yet, for the first time, he realized invisibility could be a weapon. He had seen what others had missed. He knew something no one else dared to know. But knowledge is dangerous. Because even as the car pulled away, Daniel felt a chill run through him, a warning he couldn't shake. Someone else had noticed him watching. In that moment, Daniel understood. He hadn't stumbled into the scene by accident. He was already part of it, and the secret he carried could cost him everything. The next evening, the city felt colder, as if the shadows themselves were watching him. Daniel tried to shake it off, but unease clung to every step he took. At work, whispers floated through the halls. The CEO had not returned calls. Rumors swirled of meetings canceled, of deals suddenly collapsing. Yet no one dared speak aloud what Daniel had seen. On his way home, he noticed it again. The same black car parked farther down the street, engine silent but unmistakable. His pulse quickened. He turned a corner, only to find himself blocked by two men he had never seen before. Their suits were sharp, their eyes colder than the night air. "You saw too much," one of them murmured. His throat tightened. He wanted to deny it, to claim ignorance, but he knew lies wouldn't save him. Every instinct screamed to protect his daughter, to disappear into the shadows he'd lived in for so long. Yet his feet refused to move. The CEO suddenly emerged from the alley, face pale, lips trembling. His gaze locked on Daniel as if pleading for help. And then, the words came again, sharp and suffocating. "Don't talk." In that instant, the world narrowed to a heartbeat. If Daniel stayed silent, the corruption would continue, hidden in darkness. If he spoke, he risked everything, his safety, his future, even his life. The choice was no longer about survival. It was about truth. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. Daniel didn't sleep that night. The echo of those words, "Don't talk," still pressed against his chest like a weight he couldn't shake off. But silence had shaped his life for too long. He thought about every time he'd been overlooked, dismissed, or ignored. Every time someone assumed he didn't matter. And now, for the first time, he held the kind of truth that could no longer be buried. The next morning, headlines broke. Anonymous evidence had surfaced. Documents, recordings, photographs, all pointing to corruption, blackmail, and betrayal at the highest level of the company. No one knew where it came from, but Daniel did. His decision to act, to refuse invisibility, had shattered the cycle of silence. The CEO, shaken but alive, made a statement weeks later. His carefully crafted image was gone, stripped away by the scandal. But he also acknowledged something unexpected, that the person who saved him wasn't another executive or a board member or someone with influence. It was a man no one had ever noticed, a single dad who had seen what others ignored. For Daniel, the impact was complicated. Life didn't suddenly become easy. Prejudice didn't vanish overnight. But there was power in knowing he had made a choice that mattered, one that would echo far beyond his own story. His daughter saw her father not as invisible, but as unshakably strong. And that's the more profound truth. Racism thrives on silence, on voices muted and lives overlooked. But courage, even from the most unlikely places, can tear holes in the darkness. So the question remains, how many more stories like Daniel's are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to speak? Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories and share this video to keep the conversation G.